The Philadelphia Eagles deserve to be booed. It is now back-to-back losses, 2 losses in a row. One to the Dallas Cowboys, which I'm still getting roasted in my comment section, and recently at home of all places to the Chicago Bears. At home? I wouldn't have minded if we lost to the Bears at their home, at their stadium, on their turf. But at home, Philly, we weren't flying. We were walking. There was no fly, Eagles, fly. It was flop, Eagles, flop. Cue the intro. Now, some of you might be thinking that, oh, I'm making this video late. I'm putting this video out late. And that's not true. Because in youth sports, there's something called the 24-hour rule. And I took it. Matter of fact, the 24-hour rule, for those of you who don't know. Now, if you have a parent who wants to share their frustrations, rightfully so, perhaps about a player who might not be getting as much playing time or, like whatever, and you want to talk to the coach tells you, hey, take 24 hours, think about it, gather your thoughts. We want to be able to have a conversation, not a shouting match. And so you take 24 hours. And if you still feel that way, then take 48 hours. That is how I felt about this game. That is how I felt after watching the Eagles lose in just... We didn't even lose. We got beat up. Our hopes and dreams got shattered at home. There are so many reasons why I needed to just take a couple days and just calm myself so I can have a conversation with you, my friends. And I want to talk about some of those reasons, and I'm going to talk about them in a nice and calm manner. As I mentioned, I've taken my 48 hours. I feel good. Thanksgiving was great. And I just want to share my thoughts with you. So let's get started. I want to talk about some of the facts in this game because the Eagles scored, get this, 0 points in the first quarter, 3 points in the second quarter, 6 points in the third quarter, and 6 points in the fourth quarter for a total of who cares? Because we lost the game at home to the Bears and we were booed. Rightfully so. The boo started in the first quarter. You know things are bad when there's 4 quarters to a game. And the very first quarter, the fans already know where things are going. The boos started and they didn't stop. Now, this makes 2 losses in a row. But this one was at home. And I think this hurts more than the Dallas loss. Losing to your divisional opponent is bad. But losing at home, I would say, is far worse to anybody. When you lose at home, when someone comes onto your turf, into your city, your town, and they push you around in front of your fans, because now you're going to have to drive home. You're going to have to walk through the tunnel. You're going to have to walk off the field facing those fans, feeling everything, driving home. Your neighbors are probably just going to be looking at you and just like doing one of these. That takes the loss to a whole different level. A whole different level. I also think, is this expected? Because is this what's expected from a team? We talk about Super Bowl fatigue. Is this expected? Because just coming off of winning the Super Bowl, we feel fatigued. We look fatigued. And we look like we just have lost form. We look like we've lost our identity. We look like we've lost leadership. We've definitely lost players. I feel like we've definitely lost some key leaders, and we've definitely lost some playmakers. But this team just looks like it's soul searching. Let's talk about the conditions of the game, because it was cold, a little wet, and definitely windy. Cold and wind creates a little bit of a moisture. A little bit of a moisture. Fun fact, I'm not a meteorologist, but I know a little bit about science, third grade science. And so I ask you, why would you ask Jalen Hurts to throw 34 times when Saquon Barkley was averaging 4.3 yards per carry and was gaining steam? Folks, let him cook. To highlight how the Bears won this game, they let their two running backs run and tire out our defense. Both of their running backs each ran for 125 yards and 130 yards respectively, and both had a touchdown each. That's how the game was won, on the ground. This was a ground pounding game that you pound away at small yardage, you tire out the defense, and the Bears were doing a very good job of mixing small plays with big plays, some throws, some runs. They really took care of Caleb Williams in this game. Caleb Williams didn't have to do anything spectacular. Caleb Williams wasn't asked to go and win the game. This is good coaching. They let the players around him, they surrounded him with players that gave him the confidence. He really didn't have to play like he did last year to try to make a play on every single down. This is just really, really smart coaching by the Bears. Not that I can say for us, because if you look at every single quarter of this game, the Bears ran at least 12 plays that led to a touchdown, at least a field goal. But they ran at least 12 plays every single time that led to at least a field goal or a touchdown. But I just want to talk about something. Why is running so many plays important? At least in my opinion. Thank you for asking. I'll share it with you. Because one, it gives your defense a break, especially since our defense, the Philadelphia Eagles defense, has been carrying this team for the whole entire season. It's been our defense that's been called upon again and again and again the whole entire season. But running a lot of plays, when our offense is able to run a lot of plays, it gives our defense the ability to be able to just take a breather, which they need. Second, it tires out our opponent's defense and allows us to be able to break them down piece by piece, down by down, play by play, yardage by yardage. And it gives us the advantage because we are breaking them down to eventually score. Third, it builds confidence within our offense because we're getting different plays off. We're getting different personnel involved. Maybe some running, maybe some throwing, maybe a little bit of gadget plays. We have the flexibility to be able to be more rounded, to be able to perhaps try new things because their defense is getting tired. Fourth, it makes us unpredictable, which week after week, AJ Brown has been saying, we look very predictable. And I'll touch upon what CJ Gardner-Johnson said at the end of the game during his interview in the locker room about our predictability. I think these four things that I mentioned is what makes an NFL team successful, in my opinion. If you want to be successful in the NFL, these are the things you do. This is how you operate an offense. Our coaching staff right now, and especially our offensive coaching, is just missing that. Is missing it, and is missing it bigly, as Trump would say. Let me tell you where I lost my mind. I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated, show that in my voice. But let me tell you where I really lost my mind. And I was like, I really need to take the 48 hours. I'll tell you. So, in the third quarter of the game, Caleb Williams throws an interception, and we get the ball starting, I think, about the Bears' 30-yard line, right? We started to run plays with Saquon Barkley, and the running game was working, right? Everything is going well. You know, we just had a turnover. Our offense comes on and trying to back what our defense just did, giving us the ball. And then we eventually get to a 3rd and 1 situation. And the brilliant play calling that has been happening all season, we're a 3rd and 1, I think, about the Bears' 10-yard line. Right? And the brilliant play call is a tush push on a 3rd and 1. This is where I lost my mind, folks. This is where I lost my mind. Because newsflash, every single NFL team has figured out, has decided they don't need to stop the force of the tush push. They can't. It's too good. It's too good. But instead of stopping the force, instead of meeting force to force, let's instead focus on just getting the ball, getting at the player with the ball, the quarterback. And that's exactly what they did. The Bears defense made a play at Jalen Hurts and were able to knock the ball out of his hands, creating a fumble and a turnover in a 3rd and 1 situation. If you were paying attention, I just mentioned how Saquon Barkley's running was steaming up. Why would we not let Saquon Barkley continue to cook? Why the tush push? Which we're missing a very key player from that play, which is Lane Johnson. It really matters because it's very pivotal. For the success rate of the tush push to happen, Lane Johnson has been integral, a huge integral part of that tush push. Why is that the play we call? When we have not had confidence the whole entire game, why is that the play we call? Why do we not get Saquon? It's a 3rd and 1, 1 yard. 1. I am losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. This is why, this is why I needed 40 hours. And I feel like after this video, I'll probably take another 48 hours because this game was trash. The coaching was trash. And the booing from the fans was spot on. I was booing, but I had to get up and walk away from watching the game. It is just incredible to me the fact that it's like we don't learn. It's like we're not learning. And I have a huge problem with Nick Sirianni. And, you know, when you start to hear boos, when our own fans, we're 8-3 before losing this game. 8-3. And on top of the NFC East. And our fans are booing. It's time to think twice. Because I will say the one good thing, there's always, I'm going to try to end on a positive note. How about that? I'll try to end on a positive note. Because the one good thing is that we have time to rest, heal, and fire our offensive coordinator, because we didn't lose this game because of personnel. It was the coaching, the dumb play calls that got us nowhere, and the egregious 3rd and 1 tush push call. That was absolutely insane to me. We have Saquon Barkley. Wasn't that why we got Saquon Barkley? Not to do the tush push, but to make the defense think we might do a tush push, but instead we hand it off to Saquon, or instead we hand it off to Jalen. There was just no trickery. There was no nothing. It was just, hey, we're doing the tush push, and we're only going to do the tush push. Other teams, do you know that? That's all we're going to do. That's all we can do. We're just going to do the tush push. I hope you don't think that we're going to hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley, that we're going to do a fake anything. No gadget plays, no trickery, just straightforward tush push. Please don't plan for that. Oh, please don't plan for it. Don't plan for not stopping us and plan for just getting the ball. Please don't plan for that. I'm going to end with this because I don't want to, I feel like we're going to burst a blood vessel. CJ Gardner-Johnson, who I really, really love. Why we let him go, I don't know. If it was money, Howie should have found a way, because these key players that we let go, these key players, they were part of the heart and soul of this team, and they were able to transcend this team. I still don't like those moves that were made, but what am I to do? But CJ Gardner-Johnson was interviewed at the end of the game, and essentially someone asked him, were the Eagles' offense predictable? Like, could you know what they were going to do before they did it? And being the professional that he is, he didn't say nothing, but he just smiled, and he did a couple of these winks, you know? And that just says it all. That's how every single defense looks at us. That's how every single defense thinks about us. That's what every single team is doing. Looking and licking their chops because they get to face the Philadelphia's dying offense. Predictable play calls. Tush push mentality. What do you guys think? Am I going crazy? Don't answer that. Yes. Did you see something different in this game? Did you see a positive in this game? Was the booing too much or not enough? Please let me know in the comments below. If you've been watching this and you haven't subscribed, that's just crazy. That's crazy. That's like doing a tush push on a 3rd and 1. I'm Nick Kabari. Thank you for watching the Nick Kabari Show. I'll see you in the next one. Some of you need to take the 48 hours and 24 hours because if you're like me, I'm still fuming. I feel like I still need more time. So I'll see you in the next one.